Most people think people who run are crazy and that you shouldn't do it because, it's bad for your knees, or, hey, I'm too old to run. And then there are others who say, hey man, it's just a way to burn calories. But what if I told you it also changes your brain, strengthens your muscles, and at the cellular level improves how you use energy and how it can dramatically improve how long and how well you live. In this video, I will walk you through some of the science from your first run to the long-term health benefits and explain how much you actually need to run to get the crazy running benefits without overdoing it. Hey, my name is David and I'm a runner like you. I was overweight, depressed, broken after years of abusing my body and my health. I hit rock bottom and realized I needed to change how I was living or I wouldn't make it to 50. So I started walking, then running. Then I started eating plant-based and I dropped 100 pounds. I ran a 5K all the way up to a 50-miler. And I learned what worked for me and what didn't. So what happens when you go out for a run right now? Well, there are a few immediate benefits, and a well-detailed review from 21 looked at exactly that. After going through about 50 studies on how running affects our brains, and they found something very interesting. Each study measured mood slightly differently, but the outcome was remarkably the same. Running reduced sadness, anger, stress, fatigue, while increasing overall energy levels. Even a single run was enough to improve how people felt, and with regular running, those benefits grew. People who run consistently tend to be happier, healthier, calmer, more positive, and less mentally and physically drained. And those benefits may even be greater when you run outdoors. That's my training ground. Nature amplifies the psychological effects of running. And if you've ever felt that moment when on a run, everything goes quiet, movement literally feels like you're flying, and confidence just spikes through the roof, well, that's not accidental. That's well-studied, well-response known as a runner's high. I'll explain the science behind it first, and then I'll translate it into plain English. Running high is scientifically described as a state of mild euphoria, reduced anxiety, and decreased pain sensitivity. In simple terms, you feel epic, stress fades, and discomfort matters, well, a little less. And some studies have even suggested that running can temporarily enhance brain function. And that is a good thing as we age. After long efforts like a marathon, improvements in attention and problem solving have been observed in a number of people. I know this firsthand because it's happened to me a few times over the years. Now this may be because running helps the brain release certain chemicals that support learning and memory. And just to make things even more crazy, running has been shown to support your brain so you can stay sharp as you age. But that's just the beginning. The real changes are happening deep inside your muscles. So what actually happens to your muscles and your tendons when you keep running for weeks, months, and in some cases, years? Well, a scientific review in 2018 looked at how endurance training reshapes the body, and the findings were fascinating. First, your muscles adapt. Consistent running strengthens your slow twitch muscle fibers, making them more fatigue resistant. Inside those fibers, your body increases the number of mitochondria, and these are the tiny power plants that produce energy. The result is each stride requires less effort, allowing you to run longer without burning out. And if a 5K once felt brutally hard like it was for me, and now it feels manageable after months later, that's not willpower, it's your mitochondria doing their job in the background. Then there are the tendons. Unlike muscles, tendons adapt slowly. But when they do, the payoff is huge. Regular running makes tendons, especially the Achilles, stiffer and more durable. And that stiffness is a good thing. It allows the tendons to act like springs, storing the energy, and when your foot hits the ground, it releases it like when you push off. That spring-like behavior is one of the main reasons experienced runners look smooth and effortless. They're not just stronger, they're more mechanically efficient. And here's a big bonus. Stronger tendons means fewer injuries. That's a good thing as we age. Weak, Overloaded tendons break down easily. Well-adapted, stiff tendons tolerate higher loads, allowing you to run further and faster with low risk of injury. Over time, these adaptations stack. Your muscles produce energy more efficiently, your tendons recycle energy more effectively, and your body wastes less energy with every step you take. But running doesn't just change your muscles and tendons, it fundamentally reshapes your heart and your blood vessels as well. And the research has shown that within just a few short months of consistent running, your heart begins to adapt. The left ventricle, the chamber responsible for pumping oxygen-rich blood to your body, it becomes stronger and slightly larger. And this allows your heart to pump more blood with each beat, meaning it doesn't have to work as hard to do the same job. That's why trained runners especially have low heart rate. I was able to get my resting heart rate down to about 43 beats per minute. Now, after years of inconsistent training, my resting heart rate is around 57 beats per minute on most nights. And weight gain and the lack of running will do that to you. Running also improves the flexibility of your blood vessels. More elastic vessels can expand more easily, allowing the blood to flow with less resistance. And this lowers the blood pressure and makes it easier to deliver oxygen to your muscles when they need it most. Combined with a stronger heart, these adaptations increase stroke volume, the amount of blood your heart pumps with each beat, so your body can work harder with less effort. And with a higher stroke volume and more flexible blood vessels, your body can deliver more oxygen to your muscles with less effort. And that's why climbing the stairs or tackling hills starts to feel easier the more you train. Essentially, your heart and your blood vessels are upgrading silently in the background. But what happens when you keep this up for months or even years? Well, in 2018, researchers tracked over 122,000 people to see how long they lived compared to their fitness level. And what they found was insane. They found that the better your heart and lungs work, the less likely you are to die early. And the more fit you are, the more it helps. There's basically no point where being too fit stops giving you the benefits. And the fittest people with the highest VO2 max had up to an 80% lower risk of death compared to the least fit. I think I have a little bit of work to do. Mine's not so good. VO2 max is such a powerful measure that it actually outperforms risk factors like smoking, diabetes, high blood pressure, and when it comes to predicting how long you'll live. But do you need to train in a special way to see these benefits? Well, a 2022 meta-analysis found that both low intensity and high intensity training can increase VO2 max. In other words, if you run consistently, your body will reap the longevity benefits that you get. So how much running do you actually need? And the good news is it's far less than most people think. For immediate benefits like feeling less stressed, boosting your mood, just one 20-minute run is enough. For medium-term gains like stronger muscles and more durable tendons, you need a bit more consistency with that. But it doesn't require extreme training. Studies show that you can maintain your fitness with just 40 minutes of running per week. And I know firsthand since I'm in that stage right now. Now, if your goal is to improve, 2 to 3 sessions of high-intensity interval training is usually enough. Faster efforts like 20 or 40-minute tempo run, threshold run, can really help improve and boost your VO2 max in just a few short weeks. For long-term health and longevity, you still don't need to train like the professionals do. And the research shows the sweet spot is about 1 to 1.5 hours per week, spread over 3 runs. Even running less than 1 hour a week is linked to living longer than doing nothing at all. Now here's the deal. Running once to feel better for literally today, or run a couple of times a week to get fitter over the coming months, and keep running for 2 to 3 times a week to stay healthy and extend your life. But if running is so powerful, should you just not run every single day? Or put it another way, Do you really need rest days? This video right here explains my 90-day in a row running experiment. Look, running isn't for everybody. For some people, it's like the Holy Grail. For others, you're in the cuckoo camp, right? You have to just find whatever piece of exercise equipment works for you, okay? And if you don't go to the gym and you find being outdoors, hiking, walking, that's amazing and good for you. If you like to run and you want to do it again, because maybe you haven't done it in for many years, or maybe it's just you want to kind of start something new with a family member or a friend, and you're like, why don't we just sign up for a 5K or a 10K? Let's train for it. It's a socially acceptable activity. Like it is really awesome for that. Running can help in a lot of ways, right? Yeah, today I talked about the body and I talked about the mind and I talked about the lungs, and yeah, I talk about those things. But there's other amazing things that happen that I don't think we can discount, especially when it comes to spending time with other people. Even if you're an introvert, it's still nice to have people around once in a while. And to be able to go for a run and catch up with a friend that you haven't seen for a while, it's a very special time, right? You don't need to worry about pace. You don't need to worry about any of that. You just need to get out and run. See you on the next one. Thanks so much for joining and cheering me on and liking and subscribing.